Hey everyone, nice to see you. It's been a while. Um, yeah, it's been a while, a couple weeks, 3 weeks, I think. Um, has it been more? Maybe it's been more. Well, I want to welcome you. Here we are toward the end of March, two-thirds of the way through March, three-quarters of the way through March. Happy spring. Today is the day, I believe. This is the first day of spring. What? Um, and it's not so bad here in Middle Tennessee. I want to say it's in the 50s today. Um, so that's nice. How is it where you are? If you're in California, is it still raining? um, I hope that all is well with you. Um, and I sort of feel a little bit like I don't really know what I'm doing today, which is apropos of the topic at hand. I'm coming to you, I think, a little bit disheveled. I was traveling for a couple of weeks, and um, most of it was difficult, like not fun, right? So I came home really, really tired. I went from Nashville to Southern Oregon to Anchorage, Alaska, and then to Los Angeles, and then back home. So it was really long, really long, long, long. Hey, Terry, welcome. John, hello. Really nice to see your name there. Um, anyway, please do, as people have begun, please do let me know that you're here. It's always really nice to see your names and to know to whom I am speaking. And of course, if you are watching this on the replay, welcome to you as well. And you can always feel free, even if you haven't caught this live, you're always free to add your comments and add your questions. And I always come back and revisit. And so welcome to you too. Um, let's see. So um, initially, I went to see a friend in Oregon, and then I went. Then from there, I flew to Anchorage, really for the dual purpose of memorializing my dear stepmother who died on February 13th after a very long battle with Parkinson's disease and dementia and terrible, terrible scoliosis. And she was the love of my dad's life and just a wonderful, wonderful stepmother. And I feel so fortunate that I got two moms in this life. And they each taught me very different things about life, and I'm truly grateful for both of them. And then the other task then was to get my dad uh, settled, somewhat settled in assisted living. My dad is 95. He had been the sole caretaker of my stepmom, his wife, for up until she died. Um, they did have a little bit of help in the last year or so, but my dad still served that primary role. And then as he has aged, right, he just grew very tired, and he was exhausted by all of that. And being 95, that's a lot to do, right? So he could no longer live by himself in their house. And so my sister really took the lead. She lives in Anchorage, and so she has taken the lead on getting him settled. And so my brother and I flew up to at least try to help to make that happen. As it turns out, on my flight from Oregon to Anchorage, I I was getting texts from my sister. My dad had fallen and broken his other hip. He broke I think his right hip he had broken twice, um, and that had healed relatively. And then so the day before the memorial service, he fell and broke his other hip. And in that, in all of that, and going to the emergency room, he had had pneumonia. Oh my goodness! And then so they did a chest X-ray to discover that he had an aortic tear, right? And that there was fluid around his heart. And so it turned into this far more complicated issue. And I have to say, my dad was so determined to go to his beloved's memorial service. But of course, the hospital was like, yeah, we can't let him go. like, we can't release him and be liable for that. He's not in any condition to go. And so there was understandably, right? So there was a medical student on my dad's care team at the hospital, and she was like, we got to get this guy to his wife's memorial service. Let's bring in hospice, because we can release him to hospice if they take him and watch over him and then bring him back. And so that's exactly what they did. So, if if there are such things as angels on earth, I do believe it is those who work in hospice. Absolutely amazing, right? So my dad was able to go to the service. He was, like high as a kite, because he had all these medications for his broken hip, and you know, uh, but nonetheless, he was there and he was conscious and aware, at least in part of where he was. So then I flew after then such a long story. After then getting my dad back to the hospital, and then getting my sister got him settled in assisted living, and my brother and I were able to leave on our scheduled flights. And I flew to Los Angeles to go to the opening of a dear friend's play that he had written and directed, and it was a beautiful, beautiful adaptation of the William Saroyan novel that now is completely escaping me. Oh my gosh. Anyway, it was beautiful, beautiful production. I was so happy to be there. Really beautiful performances. And then they had a going away party, because they are moving from Los Angeles to South Carolina. Their truck came today. So it was a whirlwind trip, and it was just crazy. And then when I got home, I hit the ground running. Like, I had so much to do and so many emails. So like I must have missed 100 auditions. I mean it. Like, I missed that many, and I could not catch up. So I just had to go through and delete them all, and I'm still catching up. I still haven't really turned in anything except work, for long-standing clients and stuff like that. But it takes a while, right? It takes a while to get your bearings again after you've been, after your life's been in disarray. And um, so this is all. Hi Pilar, hi Genevieve, hi Beth. So happy that you're all here. Um, so in the midst of all that, I know this isn't very voiceover-ish, but I do think it's artist-ish, and I think it's important to say and to address. And I have a couple of friends right now who are kind of in life crisis, broken relationships, difficulty with children, hard things, And one of my friends was saying, and he's such a sweet and sensitive soul. He said he was talking about the suffering, and he's lost a relationship, and he's talking about the suffering, and how is it that other people seem to go through life and they don't really suffer? All these big giant life questions. Why is life unfair? Why do some people suffer more than other people? And I've been in that state of mind where I am in the midst of my own suffering, and I think, why do I have to suffer? Why do I have to go through this? Why am I the one with messed up relationships? And I see people around me with these really solid, steady relationships and marriages and partnerships, and I see them celebrating their 30th anniversary, their 35th anniversary, their 40th anniversary, and I think, I will never have that anniversary, and I'm reminded, by another friend who says now and again, who reminds me now and again, no one gets out unscathed. No one gets out of this life without some form of suffering. It is a part of life. It's a part of our experience. And what matters then is how we manage it, what we do with our suffering. And I'll tell you, last year I was really, uh, uh, I was in a difficult situation in a relationship, and it was a mess, and I just was like, oh, it was terrible, right? And I realized today that I am able to talk to my friend right now who is suffering and who is deeply sad, and that I can be of service to him because I know what it's like. I've been there, and I have felt it, and I have survived it. And I think that that is a big piece, a huge piece and purpose of our, of the suffering that each of us will need to contend with at some point in our lives, right? And so it, please pot up your mic just a fractional smidge. Okay, yes, I will. I hope this will help. Thank you so much for letting me know. Is that better? I hope that's better. Let me know that my mic is better. I feel like I'm right on my mic, so let me move this up a little bit and see. Okay, I'm hoping that helps. Where was I? All of this pertains, our to our work as well, to our professional lives, our creative lives, and particularly to people who are, work, who are entrepreneurial and who are artists. Again, like I've said it before, we put ourselves out as artists. When we are doing the work that we do, we're putting ourselves out on the line, right? It's our voice, it's our image, and so when we get criticized for it, or when we don't get hired, which feels like a big piece of criticism to us, we can't help but take that, personally, right? And it's difficult as artists who are also entrepreneurs to weather the ups and downs of our careers. And we all know, that we're going to have dry spells, and some dry spells are going to be long, and it's going to feel like we're the only ones. We look around and everybody's posting their work, and everybody's talking about this, and everybody's going to this conference and doing that thing, and we're like, what about me? Where's my career? Where's my my expendable income that I can book myself a ticket to Atlanta and buy a entrance and pay for workshops? When's that going to be when's my turn? And so I think it leads us into this space where it only happens to me. Everybody else is doing great. How come I'm the only one suffering, right? And that's real. I just want to say that's real. And I don't have any great big answer to that as to why why we experience the things we do when we do. And I don't, but I do know that the upshot of that is that there is a purpose to it. And it is tied to I think I might get a little verklempt here. It is tied really to what I believe our purpose is in life, which is to love other people, to love the people who are right in front of us, no matter what we're going through, right? And so I do know that whatever suffering we are going through, no matter how small or how large, how overwhelming, how persistent that suffering is, it can be used to serve others and really to be, yes, of service to other people, and to help make other people's lives a little bit better. And I certainly have had that experience myself with people who have gone before me on the path of suffering. and who have turned around and put their hand out to me and helped me up, you know. Um, and I think that uh, it's a really big reason why I wanted to create this group. And I know groups like this are like, in a certain sense, a dime a dozen, right? But a piece of it for me was to remember that we really do need to be in community with each other, and those of us who have walked a particular path, you know, um, that we share and we help and we provide resources to people who are, you know, walking up behind us, right? And so that we can kind of take a step back and walk alongside. And so that's really why we're here. And I think too, you know, I'm going to VO Atlanta uh, tomorrow. I'm driving. I had bought a ticket, you know, plane ticket, and I was like, huh, it's only a 45-minute flight. How far is it from Nashville to Atlanta? I'm like, oh, that's just a 4-hour drive. I may as well drive. So anyway, I'm driving. Um, I just spent a boatload of money to get my car up to snuff so I could drive safely. Oh, that was unexpected. But anyway, I'm going to VO Atlanta, and I know that there are some of you who are going as well, and I will really look forward to seeing you. And I just want to say, I don't have any agenda. I'm not teaching. I'm not on any panel. I'm, you know, I'm just there because I want to be with my people. That's the truth. Um, and and it is a piece of why I recommend that people at some point in their careers figure out a way to get to one, um, because community is so important to us, and because there's always someone in in our immediate surroundings that needs us, or perhaps we're in need. Ain't no shame in that either. You know, the more we are willing to share our struggles and our fears and all of those things, the more people open up and share theirs, and the more we realize that we're not alone. So all of that is important. Um, you know, you can't, no one can give to you if you don't express your need. Uh, and it is it is a joy to give. And I know, and it's difficult to receive a lot of times. It's a lot, it requires a lot of humility to receive. But that is like, that's good. You know, opening your heart that way is good. And I'll say it's good for your life, it's good for your career. You know, if you are, again, it's all connected, right? If you are in touch with your humanity in every aspect of it, all the good stuff and all the shitty stuff, you are more available to your work. And if you want to do things, you know, like animation and video games, all that stuff has to be available to you, right? That is the it's kind of the burden that artists bear, right? That our hearts are wide open. And so, oh, I just feel like I'm on a tear this morning. I really, you know, this isn't Ask Me Anything. And I was gonna, you know, I just want to put it out there. Like, you really can ask me anything in the comments, or, and then I was gonna just try to kind of make it about like this conference coming up, VO Atlanta. Like, if you have questions about what conferences are about, what good are they, what are good ones to go to, you know, that is certainly a topic that you can attach yourself to on this particular Ask Me Anything. So I have now, let's see, talked for almost 20 minutes. Um, so I'm going to get in here and see what you have to say. And then if you have, honestly, if you have any questions, anything, any comments, if you have a particular conference that you love to go to, or any particular reason that you like to go, if you have a particular concern or fear about going, if you've never been, um, lay it on me. Let's see. The rain stopped. Well, that's good. When I was in LA, it didn't really. It was a little bit of sprinkling, but all the heavy downpour had happened the week before, and then right after I left. So I think I brought a little bit of warmth to Southern California. Um, Genevieve, what an amazing story! I'm so moved that there were people who made it happen for your dad. It really, really, Genevieve, it was remarkable. Like really, I think about that, right? Like this is a medical student, somebody who's really on the beginning part of the journey I would imagine her desire to be of service to people, help people, and it was like, wow, what I hope that she, I never met her, my sister did, and so I really hope that she understands just how valuable and beautiful that was for our family. So um, John, you'll be driving in tomorrow too. That's outstanding. um, that is good. I'm going to be driving in um, rush hour traffic. I'm leaving Nashville like at 2:30 p.m. So I should hit it. I should hit it right at rush hour. Should be great. John Gardner, the best thing about conferences are the people. Seeing people meeting new people, finding out where you belong, finding out you belong somewhere, finding out you belong somewhere. That is so true. I have always thought that going to conferences and taking workshops with other people as opposed to one-on-one coaching is so helpful to understand finding your place, right? We all have this desire to know our place in the world, to find our place in the world. And those two things really help us. Taking group workshops helps us to understand our, like where we are, uh, in terms like, are we beginner? Are we intermediate? Are we advanced? Are we like, whoa, I'm like doing really good. Like I have more talent than I thought I did. Or, ooh, wow, I need some more work. Wow, I aspire to the kind of work these other people in this class are doing, et cetera, right? Like that's always good to know where we are because then we have this opportunity to then progress from there. So it's super helpful. Beth, I'm having a little fear of missing out about not going to VO Atlanta this year. I do so enjoy time with my tribe. However, my family needs me because of some hard life stuff. My heart's with you. Um, your message is lovely today. My role right now is to be of service here. Yeah. I'm trying to be joyful for the folks who will enjoy VOA and be grateful for the service I can provide. Okay, I have so much fun at VO with no agenda. Yes, thank you so much, Beth. Terry, question. It's not about the conference, but I hope to see you there. I'd like to know how much processing you do when you audition. One agent told me recently that casting directors call him and requested that their auditions get submitted with none. Um, it's a good question. I process a lot of my auditions. In fact, I process most of them. But I suppose it depends upon what type of processing you're doing. Um, I really process mine just to sort of bring my voice forward. So it's not so schmancy and it's not like, it doesn't have like, it's not reverby or anything like that. It's just, um, so I would say that it depends upon um, what the audition is for and like, I'll say this. I never process my animation or video game auditions because breath, the natural spacing of things and the way that we breathe and the way that we pause are integral to our reads. And so what I do process, I'll say this, what I do process are my announcer voiceover auditions and my promo auditions and my narration auditions. Because on those, I take out my breath. And that I know is a controversial thing too. But I think if you listen to what is out in the world, what's on the air, there's no breath. There's no breath in promo. There's no breath in commercials anymore either, unless it's a character, unless it's you know, unless it's a dialogue of some kind, where it's sort of a live a live acting thing instead of an announcer thing. Um, but I never process for character work. And for dubbing work, or that kind of stuff, it very often there are explicit instructions that say do not process, and and they want it at a certain decibel level and all of that. So um so so Terry, I think um I've never had somebody come back and say, okay, Bess, stop processing your stuff. I've never had anybody do that. But it may be that I'm processing it in a way that it doesn't really sound like processing. Again, I'm not doing weird, I'm not making my voice sound like radio imaging, which there's a lot of processing on radio imaging. Um, in fact, when I have a couple radio stations, and when I send work to them, they say, please just send us a raw file. Just send us a raw file. Don't edit. Don't do anything. Don't take out breaths. Don't take out your mistakes. Doesn't matter. Just run it and send us the whole file. And then I have affiliate clients I ask them, do you want this to be broadcast ready? Do you want me to process and sweeten? I call it sweeten. I don't know. I think that's kind of a music term. I could be wrong, but I heard that term first when I was a jingle singer. Um, do you want me to sweeten it? And invariably they say, yes, please, sweeten, because it's one less thing that they have to do, and they can just plug me in rather quickly. So again, I think it depends. I really think it depends. And I don't think there's one standard answer for that. But if you are going to process, my processing is mostly about getting my voice more forward. So it's like normalizing. I'm normalizing. But there's another piece of my processing where it's filtering out some background noise. And I started doing that because I lived in a very, 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 very noisy apartment. And so that it just became necessary to do that with the press of a button, right? So let me see what else is here. Um, let's see. Susan, I'm a fan of Totally Raw, so my client's sound engineer can manipulate my stuff however they want. That's true, and that as I just sort of expounded upon. I think whenever you're giving it to your client, like if it's a job, if it's work, then you do whatever they ask for. Yeah. And then with auditions, again, I divide it up. I do process my commercial and promo auditions, and I do not process my video game animation dubbing auditions. So I hope that's helpful. Let's see. Anything else? I feel like is that it? Any other question, my friends? Um, let's see. Uh, let's see. Let's see. New comment. I've heard from agents that auditions are often over-processed. Keep it simple. Yeah, it's really that. It's a little cleanup. And I think that that's what my processing is when I do it. So I really don't want to mislead you. I think you do whatever your agents ask. And they are they're certainly listening to casting directors, and will request of us what casting directors want. How would you recommend someone get the skills to edit? Just through experience or classes? A combination. I mean, I experience is, kind of the best teacher, right? But I think a class is really great. Like I'm a terrible editor, and I don't have any shortcuts, and it takes me forever, and I kind of suck at that. And I just, I live with, I live with it. But I have to say, I have a good audition ethic, right? Because I learned to audition with casting directors, so that when I walked into the booth at a casting office, I had one take, maybe two takes. That's it. There's no way. I don't edit. They didn't edit, right? It's like I walked in and I did my takes, and that was that, right? So I think that I learned how to do complete takes over the course of many years. And so I don't have a lot to edit. And I'm so not, I don't mean that's not braggy. I'm just saying I don't do a lot of it. And I discourage people from doing a lot of that, because then we can overwork things, and then we don't have a flow, and then the flow is sort of artificial, and we can spend too much time editing. So to know your copy before you begin, to really look it over, to understand the meaning, right? All of that is so important. And it does have an effect on how much time you spend editing. But I will say, um, let's see. There are people who do courses in editing, and if you can take one, if you can afford one, I feel like, I don't want to speak out of turn. I'm not exactly sure who teaches these things. If anybody knows, please put it in the comments. Jordan Reynolds, I think he used to teach a class, or might have a class about editing. Um, I know that there are a couple more, and I wish I had their names. I can try to find out and then put in the comments. But if you can, and usually those courses are not very expensive, but if you get two or three little tricks out of it, that's awesome. Um, I learned a few things just from my pals in VO, when I would go to, yes, Larry Hudson, that's fantastic. Okay, good. Uncle Roy, perfect. And Jordan Reynolds has a class that you can purchase, which is probably a really great idea. That way you can, like, reuse, like, keep going back to it, right? Um, I learned a couple editing things from my friend Becky Reedy. When she was watching me edit once, we were at Promax, and we had to work and stuff, and she was watching me edit, and she's like, "Girlfriend, you waste a lot of time." I'm like, "What?" So she showed me something, which I still use. She showed me shortcuts, right? Like, um, I'm not I'm a Mac user, right? So I don't know all those old school right click control. I don't know those things, but they're all out there. So she showed me a couple. So if you have friends, who do voiceover, you can also ask them, right? But I think those three, that's fantastic. Thank you guys so much. Larry Hudson, yes. Uh, Uncle Roy and Jordan, yes. Fantastic. Great help. I could stand to get one of those classes. I use Twisted Wave, which is a very, very user friendly app. Um, and I'm not sure of those people who use Twisted Wave there. I wonder. Well, we'll just leave it at those guys, and you can check them out and see what software they use. Anything else? Beth, yeah, this is so good for beginners and tech phobes. That's great. Larry Hudson teaches a great class for both Audacity and Adobe Audition. Um, that's fantastic. Let's see. I didn't want to miss this question of yours, Terry. This will be my first time at a really large VO conference. Would you recommend carving out a break for yourself, independent of the built-in breaks? Yeah, I'm an introverted person, Terry. So I I spend a lot of time in my room. I carve out breaks like whenever I need them, because I have to go refill the tank, with some alone time, and then I can get back out and be amongst people. It'll be interesting to not have an agenda for me. Uh, but yeah, you know what? You do what serves you. Honestly, do whatever serves you and allows you to be present when you really want and need to be present. And if that means taking breaks, take breaks. Take breaks. The great thing about it is there's a restaurant there, there's a little coffee hang, there always, and then there's always your room, to go back to and just like exhale. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of take care of yourself however you need to in order to really be present when you need to be present. So, tell me, Terry, are you taking any workshops, or are you just going to the boatloads of offerings that are included with the with the entrance fee? That just doesn't sound right. Um, Buying the conference. Let's see. Beth, Voiceover Atlanta is like drinking in info and social interactions from a fire hose. It's so true. It's pretty overwhelming. Um, so yeah, take breaks whenever you need them. Yeah, that's exactly right. And you know what? Here's the thing. You are going to feel like, oh my God, there's so much, and I and I can't get to everything. And you know what? That's true. You can't get to everything, and so you're going to miss stuff, right? You're going to miss stuff. That's just a part of the deal, and that's life. And you'll get stuff if you decide to go next time. Um, that's just how it is. So you would do yourself a really good service if you are selective about what you do, and then you can really absorb those things and really get something meaningful out of them. Tina Morosco's X session, that's fantastic. Tina Morosco is um, she's really really good at what she does, and she's such a lovely person, and very very kind hearted, but she's also really direct, and her input is always constructive. She has a great ear. She was a voiceover agent first. She has a really interesting story. I interviewed her on my podcast several years ago. Um, the What's my podcast? The Beehive, Women in Voiceover. You can still find it on you can get access to it from my website, kbest.com. You can also find it on iTunes. And so if you look up Tina's interview, she has a really interesting story. So she started as a talent agent, and then she became a talent. And then, is it that way? I think that's the direction that it went. Might have been the other. Yeah, I think maybe she was a talent, and then I don't know. I'm not sure which came first. Anyway, and then she started doing demos, like creating demos for people, and then she became a voiceover coach, and then she really got into being a voice talent, and she still is a voice talent, and she is a casting director. Now I think she's primarily a casting director. And so she has just a remarkable set of ears, and really great sensibility about the business, really great sensibility about what is a contemporary read for various genres, mostly under the commercial umbrella, but promo and narration as well. So that's fantastic that you are taking from her. So that's great. Um, Mary Morgan, I will be at One Voice in Dallas later this year, whenever it is. I will see you there. John, if anyone doesn't know anyone at VOA, seek me out. I won't bite. Come possibly introduce you to someone else to get you going. Fantastic. Um, yeah, I will definitely be around. I feel like my my lunches and dinners are sort of like getting scooped up. But I definitely will be around. And again, I don't have an agenda. So if I'm just hanging out, feel free to come up and chat. Um, Probably won't bite. Yeah, probably. Okay, it is now 40 minutes past the hour. And so unless anybody has any last minute questions about this, let's see. Doesn't look like it. So again, I want to just summarize here by um, by thanking you for being here and being a part of this group, and for the generosity of spirit that you bring, and helping other people, and your willingness to be receptive to other people's input. And and thank you for your patience with me as I was out of town. And I'm really grateful for you. And and if you are in a difficult spot right now, I just want you to know that you're not alone. You're not the only one. Nobody gets out unscathed. People are here to help you along. So reach out. Yeah. Let me see. There's one other comment. Let me see what this is. Um, Great. Thank you, John. I will drive carefully. You too. I got new brakes, all new brakes, brand new battery. I think I'm set for now. All the fluids are good. Everything's good. I have new windshield wipers in case it rains. So I should be good. Yeah, I need a full tank of gas. That's coming later today. Anyway, I adore you all. Thank you for your time. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I will see you next Tuesday. If there's something that you want to talk about, put it in the comments or just make a post. Hey, address this thing. It's always helpful to me to have it's. We can always make it an ask me anything, but if there's a prompt, it's always helpful. So let me know what you need. All right, loves. I will talk to you soon. Have a great day. Ciao.